to episode 5 of Cam and Focus Weekly. I'm Cam of Cam and Focus, and with me today are over on whichever side this is. Andrew, how are you?
I'm doing good. How's it going, guys?
Well, going all right. Going all right. Can't complain too much. Not that y'all want to listen to it, but I can't complain too much. And right down here is Mr. Dave. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. It's a weekend, but that means I got to go to work tomorrow. But
Don't you love it?
it's a short week though. It's only 4 days.
Yeah, it's the same for me too. I have
We get
New
Wednesday off.
Year's Day off, so
Yeah.
I'm happy I'm getting at least the one day.
I still have like 2 weeks off till I go back.
Well, what do you?
He's in school. He's a student.
I was going to say just 5 more months of 5th grade, and then you can go on to middle school.
I know. I'm excited. A little nervous though. Girls are mean, so.
Yeah, making lists of the cutest boys in class. I was always at the bottom of it. Tough memories.
And then you look at me now, women. Yeah.
Exactly.
Look at me now.
I'm on a Cam and
Nothing's
Focus.
changed. So, so last week, if anybody missed it, we talked about Underworld, which was a fun vampire versus werewolf type of shoot 'em up action movie. If you missed that, it is on my channel, the Cam and Focus channel, in the live tab. Go and check it out if you haven't. Today, we're talking about a movie that Dave has been trying to get me to watch for 3 years. Yeah, I mean, he put the bug in my ear within the first few episodes of the Cantina Happy Hour, and now it has finally happened. We are talking about The Last Starfighter. So, this was a first-time watch for me, and I believe this was a first-time watch for Andrew as well. Andrew, what did you think of the movie?
I really enjoyed it. I had a lot of fun with it. I didn't really have any expectations going into it, Obviously, there's some stuff that's dated to it, but yeah, I thought this was a lot of fun, and I'm shocked I haven't seen this already.
And Dave, do I even have to ask you?
No, one of the greatest films, in my opinion, of all times. This one. I know it's kind of one of the more obscure 1980s movies, but I rank it right up there with Goonies, Gremlins. It's on my classics list. So,
and it's interesting because you had said that it's one of the more obscure movies, and I'm someone who enjoys those kind of movies, but I had never even heard of it before you mentioned it to me, and now that I've watched it, I'm even more shocked that I never heard of it because how does something like this just fly under everybody's radar? It just doesn't make any sense to me.
No idea. It's an awesome movie.
I am very surprised with how much fun I had with it. As I'm watching the opening credits, I'm thinking to myself, "Oh man, this is going to be a cheese fest." And in a lot of ways, it was, but it was a cheese fest in the most charming kind of way.
It kind of reminded me of Stargate, like that.
Yeah.
A little bit.
And that's probably the best word that I can use to describe this movie. It is so just charming.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Point, and I didn't even know this. This is one of those things where they say, you watch a movie a bunch of times, and every time you find something new with it that you really enjoy. I had no idea Will Wheaton was in this movie.
He was?
Who
was he?
He was his scene was cut. He was one of Lewis's friends, one of the little kids' friends in the trailer park. His scene was cut, but you can see him when the crowd is gathered around him, watching him beat the high score on the video game. And then at the end, when he leaves, apparently. I had no idea, but I was watching, I'm watching it because I was listening to the credits. I was watching the credits because the soundtrack's awesome. I love the soundtrack.
Yeah.
But I was watching and I was like, Lewis's friend, Will Wheaton. I was like, wow, really? Will Wheaton? And then I'm like, I got to go watch this again because I don't remember a scene with Lewis and his friend. And then I'm thinking back on it and I was like, well, I'm not going to watch it again. So I did the IMDb thing and I was like, oh, yeah. All right. Well, there you go.
I never noticed that either. Well, and that'll give me a reason to go back and check out a few scenes from it. Definitely. Now this movie was directed by Nick Castle, who directed Major Payne. Like that, like that's just so shocking to me. So very different movies.
He was also he was an actor as well, and I'm trying to remember exactly because it's one of those things where let's see here. We lost Andrew.
Oh no. His mom must be doing a Fortnite tournament, taking up all that bandwidth.
He's an actor too. He played in the in the most current run of Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis. He played Michael Myers.
Really?
What it says.
Holy crap, that's awesome.
He was also a writer for Escape from New York. Also a writer from Escape from LA. Looks like you. Wow, man. Okay, hold on a second, because I got to go through his filmography now, because he's got a lot of stuff that it's like, holy crap, what did he have to do with that?
I had too many tabs open, and you guys got frozen. So
gotcha.
Andrew, what you doing?
Right. Oh, not that kind of tabs.
He wrote the screen story for Hook. He wrote, and I don't know if you've ever seen this movie called another classic 80s gem, The Boy Who Could Fly.
I've heard of it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Great movie. I love that movie.
Add it to the list.
Add it to the list. Escape from New York. He wrote.
I think I will, actually.
Mm-hmm.
What is this? It's the director of. Directed, Major Payne. He directed Dennis the Menace with Walter Matthau.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice.
He was an actor. He played The Shape in Halloween Kills and in Halloween, the 2018 Halloween.
I think one of his acting credits is just Flashing Man.
Yeah, he played The Shape in the original Halloween as well. The John Carpenter Halloween. So I mean, he was in Dark Star as well. God, I haven't seen that one in a long time either. But anyway, it's just he's all over the place. He's
certainly been around, definitely.
Actor, writer, director, a man of all trades.
Now with this movie, and I'm going to be touching on Stargate here as well. Actually, it's interesting when you look back, especially during the 80s and early 90s too. You saw a lot of this. A lot of sci-fi films that revolve around the idea of space or space travel or some big extravagant premise centers on Earth. Well, it's when you take that and you look at a franchise like Star Wars or Star Trek or whatever, it's very out there. It takes place in a different galaxy. It takes place with people who have never like there's no Earth around. But with this, it's you have your boy who comes from nothing, who gets thrown into this extravagant story and well beyond his comprehension. And I find that idea to be pretty. I don't know if investing is the right word, but to see all these fantastical sci-fi films take place basically on Earth, I think it's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
I like that he came from Earth too, and it was even brought up too that Earth's not even not part of the Federation. And it won't be until, I think they tried to give a date too. They're not zoned to join for several more years just yet. So, and again, you're dealing with a federation of planets. It's almost Star Trek-y in a way, First Contact. So there was a lot of elements from different Star Wars had. I mean, if you didn't see the relationship in Star Wars, I couldn't pass it up. You've got a kid that grows up on a farm or a trailer park, wants something more out of life, and then I mean, it's the hero's journey. This is the cookie cutter hero's journey, is what this is.
Mm-hmm.
And then he gets thrust into this space battle at the end and becomes the hero of the universe.
Yeah,
Gets the girl after losing her 50 times.
Of course. Because every 80s sci-fi movie has to have a happy ending for the love interest.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them.
Mm-hmm. Even after finding out he had a robot and a beta pretending to be him. After the beta dies, she turns and looks at space and goes, "I love you, Alex Rogan." Like, that was quick.
You knew at that point, oh, he's coming back for her. He's going to come back for her.
And all of the funniest moments in that movie involve the beta.
Yes.
I was not expecting to laugh as hard as I did at some of those scenes.
Now, my favorite, again, you talk laugh scenes, and no, not that. See, and again, this has always been one of my favorite scenes, is where he's working. He's got his head off. It's sitting on the desk, and he's working on his ear, and and you would think it was the one where he was yelling at Lois, where it was like, you're having a terrible dream. Go back to sleep, or else, whatever. But no, it's where he hears the ship come down, and he turns the head around and he sees the ship, and it falls down, and he goes, and he put the head's on the thing, but he sits there and he goes,
yes,
and then he makes the head go like this, and I'm like, oh, jeez, it's hilarious. I mean, it's just
that. Yes,
it's just stupid, but it's funny because
yes,
you go like, oh no, something like that, and he can't do it because his head's on the table, so it's great.
Well, and sorry.
No, go ahead, Andrew.
Well, the whole time watching this movie, whenever Greg was in it, I just thought of the Thing from Fantastic Four, like a smaller version.
Yeah.
He kind of just looked like him to me, but darker, but
And somehow the makeup in this movie for Greg is much better than the makeup for the Thing in Fantastic Four.
Figure that one out.
Yep.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's like, I didn't look up what the budget for this movie was, but I can only imagine it was maybe a fifth of what the Fantastic Four was.
Let's see.
Andrew to the rescue.
Yeah, he'll find it.
And I will 15 million.
15 million. Oh, okay,
and it was shot in 40 days. So less than a month to shoot the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, 15 million for a movie like this is a pretty modest budget.
And it made 28 million at the box office.
Okay, so you factor in the cost of advertising and stuff.
It almost broke even.
Yeah.
Well, actually, with advertising, but if it were to come out today, just with word of mouth alone, it obviously would make more.
I would say it would make more because, again, this movie is one of those ones that, while it's real obscure, there is a huge cult following behind it.
Yeah.
And you would have all of those people that, like me, that would be like, oh my gosh, either you're rebooting it, which is, I wouldn't have an issue with. This isn't Indiana Jones or Back to the Future or one of those movies. Like, this would be one that I would not be upset with a reboot so long as it was done right, or they're sequelizing it. I would have no issues with a sequel either.
Did this movie have any sequels, or is it a one-off? Okay.
No, and in fact, again, a Star Wars reference here, because it was made to where it could be a one-off, because just the way it ended was like, okay, he flies off with his girlfriend, but Zur, the Emperor Zur, he escaped at the end.
Yeah.
So, you could have made sequels.
Yeah. Because I'm almost glad they didn't. It's
like the end of Star Wars. It's like it could have been a standalone movie, but Darth Vader did escape. So there's still that.
Well, and this, looking up the box office, that's a prime example of box office results does not mean good or bad, or like it's a bad movie. you know, and if a movie makes a lot, doesn't, you know, I mean, I can't tell you how many movies I've seen where they're really good, but they didn't do well at the box office.
Oh, there's plenty of them.
I mean, even this year, Furiosa did not do well at the box office, but that's one of my favorite movies of the year. So,
yeah. It has a lot to do with advertising. Some films just don't get good advertising. They just don't end up with the budget for it. Like Titan AE, for example. I don't know if you've seen that one. It came out in the early 2000s. It was one of Don Bluth's last movies, or I think it was his last movie actually. But really, really great science fiction animated film. But it bombed at the box office. It absolutely bombed because the advertising just wasn't there. Nobody had heard about this movie before it finally came out on DVD, and people were like, "Oh, what's that?"
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I think.
Well, that's
was Vin Diesel. Didn't he have some? Did he voice something in that? I want to say.
I don't know, but Vin Diesel wasn't in that movie. Matt Damon played the main character. I think Ming-Na Wen. No. That was Drew Barrymore played the female protagonist. I forget who played the ship captain, but it was someone else that's fairly well known. But yes, very good movie. Andrew, if you haven't seen it, I'd recommend checking that one out too.
Awesome. Yeah, I have not. So,
but
Titan AE, you said?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yes, right. Very, very good science fiction movie. But anyways, so with The Last Starfighter,
Bill Pullman, Jim Brewer,
Bill Pullman, that's who it was.
Yeah. So, Jim Cummings did a voice, which he voices like
Shocker.
Everything.
Yeah,
he's like the Mel Blanc of the day.
I was gonna say if Jim Cummings isn't in it, is it even an animated movie?
Right. Yeah.
So with this movie, we have the main character Alex, who, like you said, Dave, is just kind of a nobody. He lives in a trailer park. His defining feature at the beginning of this movie, well, he has two actually, is one, he's basically the help of the trailer park, and two, he plays the Starfighter game. Now, which we find out later was actually developed by these aliens, or one alien
Centauri.
in particular, Centauri, exactly, developed by Centauri, who put it there, or meant to have it put in Vegas, but it ended up at this trailer park. We never really find out why. And it's meant as almost like a recruitment program. Now, this main character Alex, he plays this game, and it's obvious he puts hours upon hours into it. You know, what we find out right away when his girlfriend, is it Maggie or Maddie?
Maggie.
She asks his mother where he is, and she says, "Where do you think?"
He's up
and
playing.
And he's playing the game. Now, so something that I found kind of amusing at first, but I thought about it more, and I wasn't quite sure what to think of it. Was so he breaks the high score of this game, and it is the talk of his community. Like everybody's gathered around him, cheering him on, like he's some kind of all-star football player or something.
He's winning the Super Bowl
for the touchdown. Yeah, exactly. Why is it such a big deal for them?
Because Go ahead, and I can explain the whole thing. But go ahead.
Okay, well then I feel anything I say is just dumb now. My thought was it's such a small trailer park, and we don't know how long he's been living there, how long this arcade thing's been there. At some point, probably everyone has attempted the game. It's like the one thing that they all have that's like unique to the community. So it's probably just, even if you don't care about that kind of thing, it's probably just interesting enough. Like, hey, this is a big deal. So that was my thoughts, but we'll hear the real thoughts now.
I'm gonna take a step back just a little bit, because something else. There's more to Alex's character than just playing video games, because he's looking for this this loan application. He's wanting to go to college. He's wanting to get out of the trailer park. He does not want to live there anymore. And he even tells his friends as much. You guys want to hang around here and get drunk and polish your truck all the time, that's fine, but not me. I'm going to do something. I'm doing something with my life. I'm going to go. But this trailer, the video game, I see that more as he does that because he does that when he has nothing else to do. When he's not helping someone fix their electric or their cable or whatever else, or he's not, running out, having a date with Maggie, then that's the only thing in the trailer park that is interesting to him. Now, as far as why this is such a big deal, that it kind of pans back to the scene prior to that, where all his friends are out at the lake, and he just got done, whatever, fixing somebody's junction box or whatever else, and he's sitting in his room, and all he sees is the planets on the mobile spinning around. And if you watch, he's listening to the conversations going on outside. Oh, you want to play cards tonight? No, I don't. Yeah, let's play some cards tonight. But if you watch, he's mouthing the conversations as well, because that is, and to me, this is so mundane that this is exactly the conversations that happen every night. And Alex is so used to this so now get to the video game, and this is something, it should have been delivered to Las Vegas. So my guess is that it hasn't been there that long. So this is something new and exciting for the community, and for him to do this. And you've got Otis, the guy who runs the Starbright, he's hollering at, hey, he's about to bust the record. Come on up, come everybody. So I mean, it's something exciting, it's something new, it's something different that is out of the mundane for the people in this community that obviously never leave. They don't do anything. I mean, you're looking at it's obvious that most of these are older people, retirees, or single parents, maybe like Alex's mom. She's obviously a single parent that works an awful lot just to make ends meet, kind of thing. So the winning of a video game is something new and different. That's my thought.
Yeah, and that's very sound reasoning.
I have to retire after that.
Sorry.
And him mouthing the conversation was it was something that I had caught, but the significance of it didn't quite hit me, and obviously that's one of the detriments of being a first-time viewer, because a lot of these details, these more intricate details, escape me. So that's why I'm glad that you're here, Dave, because
if it was just me, you would be like, what even happened?
What was this movie? I don't know what I watched.
It was a video game that was real. That wasn't a video game.
And I read the kind of plot summary, but before going into it, not I didn't read that, like the synopsis, what happened scene by scene, but just like the plot summary that's on the headline of its IMDb page. And I was going into it thinking that this would be kind of like Ender's Game, where the main character is playing what he thinks is some kind of game, but in reality, what he's playing is happening in real life. So it's
War Games.
Yeah, exactly.
It could have taken a Tron.
I got some Tron vibes
where it sucked him into the video game, and he's got to survive the video game now. So it could have gone many ways. I'm glad it went the way it did. But another thing, and again, something new I thought of, Galaxy Quest. And if you haven't seen Galaxy Quest, go see Galaxy Quest, because it's amazing. But I was like, oh my God, it's like Galaxy Quest. Galaxy Quest stole from this, to where, oh look, it's real. All of this, and I think it was the scene where he's actually like at the base, and he sees the gun stars. Oh my God, they're for real. And I was like, that's cool. It's Galaxy Quest.
I do like.
All right, I'm gonna go play GTA real quick. So
Yeah, Andrew, if you haven't watched Galaxy Quest, that's another one that you probably like. It's
been on my list for so long. I just haven't gotten to it.
Yeah, it's a satire of the science fiction genre, specifically Star Trek. Mm-hmm. It is very much a parody of Star Trek, but yes, it is very funny.
And Alan Rickman, one of his
Alan
greatest
Rickman
roles.
Yes. We need your help.
By Grapthar's hammer, these are the lowest prices of the year.
Oh, goodness.
I played Othello.
So Alex has the conversation with his mother. His loan gets denied. And so something that I found very poignant about that scene is a lesser actor would have just crumpled up the paper and dropped it on the ground. He crumpled up the paper and threw it at the trailer park sign. That I thought was a nice detail. That right there was, as a first-time viewer, that was the biggest indicator to me that he was tired of life there. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And immediately after, we meet Centauri. Now, this guy pulls up in
some DeLorean.
It looks so much like a DeLorean, and I almost thought that it was.
No. Okay, so yes, it was.
We're going to school here.
Hang on, it was designed because the guy that designed this car was also asked to design the time machine for Back to the Future. So it was based. Yes, it was based on the DeLorean design, and up until probably just a few years. Up until recently, I would have agreed with you 110%. However, I'm going to go with a Toyota Prius just because it had that stupid back wheel cover on it. The original Priuses, they looked like that. The only thing it didn't have was the little gold wing doors. But other than that, I was like, oh my God, he's driving a Prius. But
it was a fancy looking Prius. They spruced it up nicely.
It was a spruced up Prius, yes. Anyway, I'm sorry. That's my bad. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Yeah. I don't know what a Prius is, so I mean,
And now it says Centauri. This guy is freaking hilarious.
Yeah,
I loved every second. I just got to take my face off real quick. Yeah. Now I found it kind of interesting that he kind of switched back and forth between referring to himself in the first and third person.
Yes.
Now, I don't know if maybe that was something he was advised to do to kind of portray some kind of dialect for his race or what, but I mean, at first, I'm listening to him talk and I'm like, wait, is he talking about himself?
Yeah. Who is Centauri?
Yeah, he said his name was Centauri, but it sounds like he's talking about a different guy.
Mm-hmm.
He's talking in the third person.
Yes. Andrew thought that was very funny.
Filthy hobbitses, they stole it from us.
That's pretty good, actually.
When I was younger, before I went through puberty, I had like a Gollum's entire monologue in the middle of the two towers where he's going back and forth while Sam and Frodo are asleep. I had that entire thing memorized word for word, and I did impressions of it all the time.
I bet your mom loved that.
She wasn't around to hear that. It was more from my uncle because he and I are big Lord of the Rings nerds. So
my uncle is too.
Oh well, I mean, I've got the one ring all around my neck. Cool. So, yeah.
My uncle's who introduced me to Lord of the Rings. So
nice.
Yeah. Anyway,
so he drives off with Centauri, and they're going over 300 miles an hour, and they finally take off into the air. Now, this was the first time we got a nice dose of what kind of CGI we were going to be expecting with this movie. Now, I'm not going to lie. I thought the CGI was fun.
Yes.
1984 fun. Just remember.
1984 CGI fun.
You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of Dune, the 1984 Dune. If you haven't seen that, the original one, it looked very similar to that.
Yeah, with those blocky Minecraft shields.
Yes. Yeah.
They
looked like
take
it
off.
looked like a video game. It looked
It
like
did.
a video game.
It really did.
Yeah.
It looked exactly like a video game, like a Windows 98 screensaver video game.
Your internet's out. You're playing that game.
My internet goes out. I'm playing Minesweeper. I'm playing pinball, solitaire.
Oh man, y'all are so old. God.
Yeah. That they take off into space, and then they find this this race of aliens that's at war. Now I forget the name of the alien race.
The Rylos.
Yes, gotcha. Okay, and that's where he's introduced to that this war that's going on, this real war that's going on between between the Rylos and what were the other ones?
Kodan Armada.
The Kodan Armada.
The Kodan Armada.
Greetings, Starfighter. You have been recruited by the Federation to defend the frontier against Zur and the Kodan Armada.
And this is like textbook hero's journey, where he gets the call to action and he refuses the call. Now, when he's briefed on the mission and he meets the other starfighters and stuff, and he finds Greel, and he says, "Hey, this is a huge mistake. I'm not supposed to be here." And then Centauri comes up and gives him some words of encouragement, and he basically says, "What? You're on the cusp of history, and you just want to go home?" Mm-hmm. And then
even Greg is like, "You're not supposed to be here."
And he said, that was, again, one of the Robert Preston. You gotta love him, because where he's sitting there and he goes, "Oh, Earth's not supposed to, not in the Federation. You can't recruit outside the Federation." And then the one guy says, "Give back the money, Centauri." And he's like, "Give back the money."
Yeah.
Oh God, I loved him. I thought he was so much fun. But Alex refuses, and he says, "Well, what are you just gonna leave?" And then it hard cuts to them just driving away from the planet. I was like, ha! Yes, he is just going to leave. It is going to be like that.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think how far. That must not be very far from Earth with how fast they're going, because they can get back and forth.
Well, they went through some kind of warp speed, something or other on the way there. So
yeah,
space.
Yeah.
Don't question the science too much.
Yeah, I was going to say,
right.
Yeah, you can explain the science with a hand wave.
It's like, guys, here's the science.
When he was driving the car on Earth, he was doing 300. In space,
That's
obviously,
right.
He's going to be going faster.
True.
301.
No resistance up there,
Yeah.
Yeah. Guys, it's all right. I can explain the science. It goes like this.
It's science.
They took me out. The studio took me out.
So he gets back, and he sees that the beta unit has taken his place. Now, apparently, the beta unit offended Maggie, when she tried to make out with him, and he commented on her sexual habits.
And we learned it's because when he said like the ear, I was confused. And then when we learned later that the beta has the stuff in its ear, I was like, okay, makes sense.
Yeah. Now, I was curious to see how they would play, doing one actor playing two different roles. Because this was the 80s. You didn't see much of that very often. I think the earliest movie that I can think of that had one person playing two roles, that did it in a way that was super prominent, was Parent Trap, the remake of Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan.
Go back further. Original Parent Trap.
The original one.
And
was that just one girl, or was that twins?
No,
it was. Girl.
That was just one girl. Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that was what, in the 70s?
Yeah.
Maybe
I think
even
so.
60s.
My sister loves those movies, so she would know.
I gotcha. The point is, this was still a fairly new concept at the time, so I was curious to see how they would do it. It was seamless. It was absolutely seamless. Especially, the scene where they're talking to each other. Alex is sitting in the chair, and the beta's in the bed, and now obviously that pillar of darkness between them. Okay, yeah, that's where they had to splice the footage together. But just looking at it, you wouldn't know.
And they're in a dark room too, so it kind of fits.
Yeah,
it's night. So yeah, I thought it was really good.
And I'm glad that the beta wasn't just
19.
Huh?
Oh, I was going to say 1961 on the Parent Trap. 1961.
Wow, I didn't realize it was that old.
1961. Oh
Wow.
God, that's 10 years earlier than I was thinking.
Yeah.
Well,
wow.
Kudos to them. I mean, they did it. They did that exceptionally well. Yeah. But something I was worried about was are they just going to make this beta unit this like the same character as Alex? No, they were very different. They had very different personalities, and so it gave the actor the opportunity to portray or convey a good amount of range. Because you have Alex, who's kind of the everyman, and then you have the beta unit, who's kind of a bit more of a wisecracker, a bit more kind of snooty.
Well, and I think too, what set them apart too, and you can see this with sci-fi movies every once in a while. Oh, well, we're going to send a robot to take your place, and this robot is basically knows everything about him. Knows all of his quirks and everything else. And so it's like a flawless thing. This robot knows nothing. Not only nothing about Alex, but really nothing about humans either.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like he's trying to kind of figure it out. I think that's what adds the comedic element to it.
Yeah.
Right.
Like
things out.
When he's using the amplifying hearing for across the lake, and it's like, and they get to you mean the other girls mean nothing to me. It's all been you. Like, oh no, don't say that.
Of all the things, it had to be the worst thing he could possibly say.
I was like, you're doing so good. Or the laughing. If you were me, what would you do? Laugh, have a good time, laugh. It's like, oh gosh. It's definitely not me, guys. Okay, come on.
I don't know if you've ever played this, but it kind of reminded me of Final Fantasy X. The main character is like the beta unit, very much a fish out of water, and he's trying to find his way in the world. And his love interest says, "Well, maybe you should just laugh more." And he just kind of turns away and goes, "Ah!" And it's so cringy, and I mean, obviously that's the point. But
right, yeah.
While watching this, I was reminded of that. I was like, "Oh my God, what else had they? What else has borrowed from this movie?"
Yeah,
that's true. Yep.
And I thought that Alex's brother was stealing his Playboys.
I did too. Yes.
Come to find out, they were the kids.
Go back to
because when he was like, "Where's June?" Yeah. Plot twist. That was a bigger plot twist in The Sixth Sense.
He watches Alex leave, and then he looks down under the bed and sees the beta unit there, and he's like, "What the shit?"
Yeah. I know, that kid was something else.
And here I thought that Chris Evans in Free Guy had the best utterance of "what the shit." No.
Yeah.
I was wrong. It was this kid.
I'm gonna have to sit on that for a minute.
But Alex finds out that there's an alien hitman after him, and that they have a bit of a firefight outside. Eventually, the hitman is killed by Centauri, and
but not without a cost.
Oh yeah. He Centauri gets shot, I think, in the stomach, and he's bleeding out. Now Alex has to make the choice: does he go back and fight in this war, or does he stay here and just let these alien hitmen keep on coming after him? Because Centauri says that they're just going to keep coming. So he makes the decision to go out and fight, and this is after the Rylo's main base has been destroyed.
And Alex doesn't know that.
He has no clue.
Yeah,
that's
he's going back to. He thinks he's fighting in a war, only to find out that he's the last one fighting, or the only one fighting. Say
he's like the last Starfighter.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
What?
There it is.
That's how they got it.
Roll credit.
It's like, hey Cam, you'll like this. It's like The Last Jedi.
When I kill you, I will have killed the last Jedi. Yeah, he said it. He said it.
Ooh,
He said the thing. He said the thing.
Yeah. Well, what would have made it even better would have been if Alex looked at the camera and broke the fourth wall and said, "I guess I am the last."
Oh my gosh! No, you know what? If this movie came out in the 2010s, he 100% would have done that.
Oh, absolutely! It would
100%.
have been riding the wave of Deadpool. Now every movie has to have a fourth wall break.
Mm-hmm. A fourth wall break inside of a fourth wall break. That's 16 walls.
16 walls.
It's a lot of walls.
Andrew, this movie is a little bit inappropriate for people of your age, but there is a movie that came out in the early 2000s called Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Oh, love that movie.
I haven't even seen that.
That movie is full of so many fourth wall breaks. It's absurd. And it's not like they're talking to the audience. It's more that they know they're in a movie, and so they say something and they just go,
"Oh gosh." Like in The Office, when Jem looks to the camera, like
the best one was when they said, "Yeah, but a movie about Jay and Silent Bob, who would go see that?" And then they all kind of turn and look at the camera.
It's not a good movie by any means, but God, it's so funny.
It is.
There are a lot of movies like that where they're not good, but man,
Jay and Silent Bob were amazing background characters in all of Kevin Smith's movies. But that's what made them good, was that they were background characters. So, just my thought.
$15, little man. Put that shit in my hand.
Put that money doesn't show, then you owe me.
You owe me, my jungle love.
What is happening?
Connecting over bad movies is a layer of friendship that most people don't understand.
No, you don't get it.
Alex goes back to fight, and the only person who's there to fight with him is I keep forgetting his name. Greg. Okay.
Greg. Think Greg, but with an I.
Yeah. And he finally has the chance to, sit down in this Star Gunner. He's learning the controls, and the way they do the heads up display, the narrative sense versus the cinematic sense, is actually really clever, because we almost never see it. Mm-hmm. And Grieg says, you only see it if you're looking directly at it. And it's like, well, none of us have a direct view of it, so that explains why we can't see it. Way to save on that budget.
Exactly. Thinking smarter, not harder.
Yes, exactly. And this is after Centauri
to put it in every shot.
Exactly. They were counting the pennies, by God.
Mm-hmm.
And this is after Centauri supposedly dies. So huge blow to Alex. His anchor in this world is gone. So he goes out and starts fighting. Well, sort of. As they're flying away, Greek tells him, "Oh, go ahead and squeeze off a few. Get the glitches worked out, or the kinks in the system worked out."
They're flying in a prototype Gunstar, something that hasn't been used yet.
The maiden voyage.
Yeah.
They're just taking all the things from Star Trek: Frontier, Voyage, all these space terms.
Yeah, exactly.
Nerds.
Well, we're entering Deep Space Nine.
Deep Space, Sector 9.
Well, what are we? The next generation of starfighters?
Oh gosh.
So the way that they have him take these practice shots, I thought was pretty clever. The ship has these drone devices kind of built into it that kind of circle around it. Now, if this movie was made in modern times, then they would say, "Oh, well, this is how we calibrate the guns to, get them to fire where they're supposed to." Whereas here, it's just like, no, we're just firing to make sure the shit works right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But make sure we don't blow up.
And I don't know if you caught it too. The drones, when he's playing the video game, you kind of see how the levels progress to where it's like he's just shooting at the little targets, little practice targets. Well, the drones look exactly like the little practice targets.
Yeah.
And then when he's fighting the Codon Armada, the ships look like the ships. And then, of course, the mothership looks like the mothership. And it's all just... they made everything look the way it needed to look.
Yeah. And they reach kind of the border of where the frontier of where this war is happening, and they come across their first enemy ship, and they give chase to it. They engage it in a firefight, and they enter what it was like an asteroid or a moon.
It's a cave on an asteroid.
Yeah. Now this is where we get like. But we had gotten hints of the CGI before, but this is where it gets thrown right at us. I'm looking at the textures of the walls of this cave, and I'm like, oh my god, it looks like jelly.
Yeah. Hey, you know what? Caves in space. Let me explain the science. Here's why they look different.
See, rock, when it's in a vacuum, adopts a more liquid state.
Exactly. There you go.
And it has a gloss on it that makes it look almost ethereal in nature.
That could be some kind of space algae growing on it that makes it look like that.
You know what? Let me get Bezos on the phone. I'll send you to space.
Hey, Elon Musk, can you explain this to me, please?
Yeah. And as a kindergartner, as a 5-year-old, yeah. Okay.
Rock different in vacuum. Unga bunga.
Oh man!
So they're flying through this cave, and they finally get the ship cornered, and Alex seems kind of hesitant to shoot because if he fires, then he's now an active participant in this battle. He doesn't quite know yet if he really wants that, but he finally does it. We get our clip art explosion pasted over this fun CG, and now he's all in. And I really enjoyed the interplay between him and Grieg. I thought that a lot of their dialogue was really clever. There's exposition that's given, sure, but it's more that Grieg is kind of the deadpan delivery, straight to the point kind of guy, and then Alex is just like, wait, what? No, we're not doing this. Oh, no. So I had a lot of fun listening to them talk to each other.
It'll be a massacre. Yes, that's the idea. We're gonna destroy
them. That's the spirit. I love it.
You know what? If you put Alex in Star Wars on the Death Star, you don't even need Han Solo as backup because Alex could just take him down.
Yeah, well, of course. That's always how it is. The last Starfighter is going to be the one that blows up the Death Star.
Yep.
Just like Luke was. I don't know. No, wait, no. I don't think he was the last one. I think he was the last one in the trench.
There was 5 left. Five ships out of the 20, 30. Something along that lines. Not that I would know.
I'll get George Lucas on the phone and ask
maybe
him.
Once or twice,
Yeah, maybe once.
Yeah, I don't even think I've seen it all the way through. I think I saw watched 10 minutes, got bored, and catch on cable a couple times. But yeah,
I was gonna say I watched the edited for TV version on TNT one day.
With commercials.
I watched a 20-minute video YouTube cut of it because my attention span is so short. I can't sit for 2 hours to watch a movie.
And this was the very edited for TV version. Instead of shooting blasters, they just pointed at each other really angrily.
Yeah. Yeah, those guns look like something you get at like a gift shop at a museum or something,
KB Toys back when that was still a thing.
Andrew's like, what?
Yeah, I think KB Toys went out of business 15 years ago, something like that.
I think it's been longer than that. I want to say it's been longer than that. I'd
So-
have to look that one up.
Man, I wasn't even born yet. Jeez.
I was gonna say Andrew was barely a tickle in his dad's nut before that happened.
Oh my God.
They finally
Oh,
come
man.
across the main enemy flagship that the Emperor is on, and after some soul searching and some bonding between Alex and Grieg, that they decide, you know what? Let's let this armada pass right by us, and then we'll hit them from behind.
Hide and seek.
Exactly. Well, which they do, and I gotta say, watching the transition for the explosions on the explosions on the outside of the ship versus the inside, I thought was just so funny because you have these huge explosions on the outside where debris and stuff is flying everywhere, but on the inside it's just like a couple sparks here and there. The camera doesn't even shake.
Yeah. Something you shoot at home, you know.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then they come to find out that obviously the last Starfighter, there it is again, is still alive, and because the Emperor Zurg, I keep on wanting to call him Emperor Zurg because I've seen Toy Story too many damn times.
Exactly, same here.
Zurg, Z-U-R.
Yes, that his crew finds out that he was wrong about Alex surviving, and so they mutiny. They take him hostage, and
I love that when they're dragging him away and it looks like they're barely pulling him, and he's like, "Stop it! You won't get. This isn't the last for me."
You know what? I'm gonna say this because as a kid growing up, we made so much fun of him, the Emperor, and then the commander of the Armada, because of two things. One, Zur's. I mean, I don't know if he was overacting or what. It was just silly.
I couldn't tell either.
But the thing with it is, I mean, it's like that scene in Mystery Men where he goes, "I don't find you threatening at all." You know, it's like,
how'd you even become emperor? Is what I want to know.
Well, and he wasn't an emperor. He was because when he had that discussion with his dad when he was the hologram head, he said something about it was a group. He had his cultists following him, and it was just a small group, a small legion of them, and they were wiped out except for him. And now he's got the Kodans behind him. But the thing with his scepter, where he's got that stupid switchblade thing, and every time the last Starfighter's alive, and he makes I'm like, oh, dude, come on, seriously.
You know what I loved too was the age. Like, how old is his dad? Because on the hologram thing, he looked young, and then when we see him, he looks old. I'm like, what is going?
No. The dad was the one giving the speech.
Yeah.
But he's the younger one. He's the one that was on the hologram. It's just a crummy hologram. It's not 1980s holograms. So, but then you've got the other one. You've got the commander, and he's got that little eye.
The last Starfighter's still alive.
Yeah. He's got that little eye thing that closes and opens every once in a while, and he goes, "What do we do now?" We die.
We ride together, we die together.
Bless you.
Oh, thank you. I hope I muted myself in time.
Yes. All we saw was, we're like, what is Cam doing?
Yeah. And when I was watching Emperor Zur on screen, sometimes he reminded me of Tommy Wiseau in The Room. And other times he reminded me of John Travolta in Battlefield Earth. I don't know if you guys have seen that one, but
yeah,
sometimes I just expected him to throw his hand and be up like, while you were still learning how to spell your name, I was being trained to conquer galaxies.
If I knew you had enough time to smelt it, I would have asked for double the load.
The ceiling is too low. I thought I told you to bring more man animals in here and fix it.
The horrible.
Oh God, Andrew, this is just gonna be a night of us recommending movies to you. You have to watch Battlefield Earth.
And go into it thinking I'm watching a really bad movie, and I know it.
And I would also bring a neck brace for it, because
Yikes.
every freaking shot in that movie is at a Dutch tilt.
Yeah.
I don't always go off of critic scores, but it's Rotten Tomato scores 3%. That's gotta be one of the lowest ever.
It's so bad, and it's commonly regarded in the film community as one of the worst of all time. And
I don't know if I want to pay to rent this though.
Just
I gotta see if my library has it.
Just watch it on the site that I sent you. It's there.
Yeah.
Okay. With Russian subtitles.
Well,
it might make it better.
I watched the last Starfighter on that site. The first version of it that I started to watch, I didn't realize until they started talking it was Russian dubbed, and I was like, oh shit! Luckily, there's multiple versions on here, and so I found the English, but it had like Arabic subtitles, and I'm like, damn it!
Did y'all notice this in the movie where like there were a couple times throughout where like a character would be talking, but you don't hear it, and it's like inaudible. Like, what are they doing? Like, I
don't know that I caught that. I mean, what did you watch it on?
I rented it on YouTube.
Oh, really? Oh, so yeah. I'm not sure as to the quality of that, but
it was good. No, I mean it was like renting it on like Amazon or something.
Yeah,
but I don't know. It was just something I noticed, but oh well.
Oh, that's all right. Well,
maybe I missed some lines. I don't know.
well, I know that I did. I mean, first time watching a movie, I'm always gonna miss things, even if I watch it like a hawk. And then I'll go back and I'll watch it a second time, and then I'll catch all these smaller details. Unless it's a movie that I just really hated, in which case I'm not gonna go back and rewatch it. Like Artemis Fowl, I will never touch that stinker again, unless we do a stream about it. In which case, I will be the angriest you've ever seen me.
Please don't, because I don't want to watch it again either.
I haven't seen it, so.
Oh God,
I don't know.
It's bad.
There are some movies where it's so bad, like it could be like an hour and 20 minutes, but it feels like 3 hours because it's so bad, and it's just taking forever to get through. I'm like, I can't. Oh my gosh, I just But it's like if I've already watched like over halfway, I'm like I've already committed this time. I might as well just suffer for the rest.
Exactly.
Like just golly.
So then they finally managed to destroy this enemy flagship, and they get their own A New Hope celebration scene.
Mm-hmm.
That was done. That scene. Okay, so this is like one of the worst scenes. Not scripted, but shot scenes. I mean, the special effects in this is horrible. I mean, it's awful. It's beyond terrible.
And in this movie, that's saying something.
Right.
The thing with it's bad. The thing with it was that they when they filmed it, they were going to do a big, like A New Hope where he walks down and gets a medal and all of that, but the budget didn't allow it. So it was basically, okay, we got to take a matte painting with the small cast that we have and a few cast members that are going to stand down on the ground, and that's all we can afford right now. So therefore it looks horrible.
No, what it was college interns that were going to film school that needed credits.
That needed screen cred, yeah.
So they're like,
I got my SAG card, man.
In order to graduate, you have to be an extra in at least 4 movies.
Huh. My mom's been an extra, and she was an extra in Varsity Blues.
Really?
I've been an extra in 2 indie films, but
nice.
A buddy of mine. A buddy of mine in 6th grade was an extra in Shark Boy and Lava Girl.
Oh wow. I grew up on that movie. Somehow CGI is bad. It's bad.
He was one of the kids who was in the classroom.
Oh, cool.
And that movie was shot like 30 miles from the school that I was going to at the time.
He stole my dream journal. No, I did not. Send him to the principal's office
and have him expelled.
You got me on that one. I think I might have seen. Actually, I think the most I've seen of that one was what was in the previews, because I think that's all I watched.
That's one of those movies where you watch it as a kid, and then when you get older, you go, "Oh man,
oh god,
what was I thinking?"
Yeah. See, when that one came out, I was beyond that I'm a kid phase. So yeah, I'm not
It
even.
actually.
This one.
What year did it come out? 05?
Oh
No,
geez.
before that.
Or 3? 02?
I think it was. What? Oh God, when was I in 6th grade? I think
I
I
don't
was in
know.
6th grade in 2004. So, you're
Okay,
right.
so
It may have come out in 2005.
Okay, so that's right. That's when I was born. So I like grew up on that movie.
Yeah,
2005.
Okay.
Okay.
So I grew up with that, and then I watched it again a couple years ago, and I was like, "Whoa, what was I doing? What was I thinking?"
So, Alex finally goes back home, to say goodbye to everybody, and he's asked by the Rylos to stick around and help them continue fighting the war because Zur escaped. So he goes back to say goodbye to everybody.
They need to rebuild the Starfighter core.
Yes,
Mhm.
and he asks Maggie to come with him. Now he was really pushing hard to get her to come with him, and but watching it, as somebody who's more used to modern films, I'm like, my God, could you be any more pushy about it? But
Nowadays they'd be like, "Back off! That's harassment. Come on."
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
He's a predator.
Exactly.
But 1980s sci-fi film, love interest has to have a happy ending, so she does eventually go with him into the great unknown.
Well, because Granny's what's keeping her back. She's like, "Who will watch Granny?" And I'm like, "Other people in the trailer park. Come on."
Yeah. This is, and you see that at the first too. This is very much a community that takes care of each other because
Exactly.
they've got hey, somebody tell Alex that the thing's out. And,
she will miss her soaps.
Yeah, she gonna miss her soaps. It's like, well, why didn't she go over to one of y'all's houses and watch her soaps then?
Right.
Yeah.
But Alex gets Maggie to leave with him. He gets back on the ship and they fly away happily ever after. The end. Blah blah blah. and as it ended, I was thinking to myself, "Oh damn, that's it! I want more."
Exactly.
And that's
must have more.
That's probably the highest praise that I can give this movie. And I honestly don't say that lightly. Whenever a movie ends and I didn't want it to, that right there tells me I was in.
Yeah.
I
was really invested.
I can't remember if this is in my top 4 or not, but Blade Runner 2049. That movie's long. But when it ends, I was like, "Are you serious?" Like I didn't even feel the time. Like I could watch this for 4 or 5 hours and I'd be fine. Lord of the Rings too. Lord of the Rings.
Denis Villeneuve, if you're watching, we need a 4-hour director's cut of 2049.
Yes, please. I will watch it. Just like So I get what you mean when you are that invested, and it's credits, and you're like, oh, darn.
And this definitely will be a movie that I'll probably go back and rewatch at some point because not just to go back and find all those little details that you were telling us about earlier, Dave, but just that it was. That despite its flaws, its narrative flaws, technical flaws, whatever, crappy CGI, whatever. This was just a damn good movie.
Yeah.
I love the feel of it. Just that 80s feel in movies. I don't know how to describe it.
Whimsical.
Yes. Yeah. It was hard to hate. Even if it's bad, like a bad movie.
It was a fun time.
Yeah. This was back whenever you didn't come across a whole lot of movies that took themselves super, super seriously.
Yes.
Nowadays, movies are humorless, super broody protagonists, etc. But back then, most movies that came out in the 80s had a degree of levity, and
studios weren't as down creators' throats as they are now. They were a little bit like with Control, but now it's no. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. You're gonna do this. We're paying you to do this, and it's so strict. There's no room for the creators to do what they want. It's very rare now. Unless you're a Nolan or a Villeneuve or a director of that level, it's just not the same.
Yeah.
So.
Well, the thing is, the majority of film these days is franchise based. Every movie wants to be a franchise. Every movie wants to set up a sequel. Every movie wants to set up some kind of cinematic universe. And with that, Well, you're going to be under the thumb of a studio because,
Yeah.
I mean, the studio doesn't care about the quality of the movie. The studio cares about the box office numbers.
Yeah.
And you could have the crappiest movie in the world. As long as that box office is good, you're going to get greenlit for a sequel pretty much no matter what. You know, like Thor Ragnarok, not a great movie, but it had good box office numbers, and that's what they're looking for. So the studio didn't really care.
Are you kidding me?
Well,
I thought it was funny.
Not as good of box office numbers as other Marvel films, sure, but it was funny, but the humor really downplayed the drama.
It's just like it's all right. We're not here for that. But like last year, Barbie, I enjoyed that. I thought it was a pretty, fun, good movie. But I didn't. It doesn't need a sequel. Well,
No.
Of course, it makes $1 billion at the box office. So what does Warner Brothers do? It's like, we're gonna make a sequel, even though Greta Gerwig and Margot Robbie were like, we're not interested. If they make a sequel without Greta Gerwig, it's gonna stink. I mean,
yeah.
And I'm not saying I loved Barbie, but I'm saying it was good, but it's fine on its own.
I didn't care for it at all.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't my favorite of the year.
I'm in the minority, I guess. But
well, Dave, you're a bearded military man. You're not exactly the target demographic here,
right? No, I'm not saying it was a favorite of the year, but I was like, okay, that was better than I thought it would be, but I didn't think it needed a sequel.
I thought it was too long for what it was. I was just like, is this ever going to finish? Are we ever going to get done?
So Christopher Nolan, Oppenheimer really dominated the box
I was just about to say that.
Here's our idea: Oppenheimer 2, the next kaboom.
That's pretty funny.
Man. Any final thoughts about this movie, Andrew, for your first time, and Dave for your rewatch? Any final thoughts?
I'll say it's I had no expectations going into it, but it was much better than what I thought it was going to be. Had a lot of fun with it. Definitely, I'm going to rewatch this. Probably rewatch it a couple times before if it ever makes it into the yearly rotation.
Right.
But I had a lot of fun with it, and so I think that covers everything for me.
The score in this was amazing. I watched the credits to see who wrote it, and I wasn't paying attention because I was looking up Will Wheaton to find out where he was in this movie. But the score was amazing, and again, it ends so well. It ends the way you would expect an '80s movie to. It has the Last Jedi boy in the broom ending, because the ship is taking off, and you see Lewis go up to the video game, and he starts to play, and the video game is the ship lifting off, and he looks up and he sees the actual ship lifting. Yeah, and '80s. And
it kind of made me think of E.T.'s ending a little bit, not as emotional or as good, but just that it's kind of that feel.
The classic '80s ending where you're looking up and going, yeah, and everything is right with the world. So, again, one of my favorites. I'm going to tell you a real quick story. When I was a kid, we had our 286 computer with Windows 3.11 in our living room. It was on a desk in our living room, and that was kind of like the office area. On this lovely little IBM 286, I could play one of my favorite games of all time, X-Wing. And for those that don't know, it's a Star Wars flight simulator. You fly X-Wings, you fly Y-Wings, you fly A-Wings, B-Wings, the whole kit and caboodle, and you fly against the Empire, and it's great. And I loved playing that game because I'd go up, Mom, I just made lieutenant. Oh, Mom, I made captain. I'm doing all this. Look at all my tour ribbons, and I finished tour 3, and everything's great, and blew up the Death Star, everything. Man, I loved it. And my mom, not knowing that I had seen this movie already, she says, you need to watch this movie, The Last Starfighter. And I was like, okay. And she was like, you see what could happen? And I'm like, what's the problem with that? Do you realize how much I would love to be sucked in and say, "Hey, we need you to come fly an X-wing against the Death Star"? I would
drop everything and go.
I made a comment once because here's the thing, Star Wars a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, whereas Star Trek is like, that's an earthbound, we go to Earth in Star Trek. That's like, this could possibly happen to humans kind of thing. I made a comment once, if I would lived in Star Trek and I was on the Enterprise, I would spend my entire time on the holodeck writing a program that was me flying an X-Wing against the Death Star. That would be that would be my holodeck, would be playing Star Wars in Star Trek. So suck it, Kirk. Sorry. My rant.
Your mom looks at you and says, "So you see this? This is what could happen to you." And you look at her, she's like, "You think so?"
Oh, really?
And everyone's like, "No."
No.
Oh goodness. Yeah, I mean, I'm honestly very glad that you've been recommending this movie to me, Dave. I'm sorry that it took me so long to actually sit down and watch it, but I mean, I had a genuinely good time with this movie. I really, really enjoyed it.
It's a hard one to come by. I think that's one of the reasons why, because with everything streaming and everything now, it's hard to. I've started to come by a lot of the older movies that I've really enjoyed on lesser knowns, Tubi, Peacock, things like that. But But this one specifically, I've got a hard copy of it. I've got it on my Plex account too, so I can watch it on my phone or wherever anytime I want to.
Never watch a movie on your phone.
Why?
Well, this is the only way that I could watch it, unfortunately.
Why?
It's so small.
Not
how movies are meant to be
I don't have a physical
watched.
copy of it, and two, my computer is still effed in the A. So
I was not fan of your computer, but right.
For the last 2 years, I've been having so many computer issues, and my computer finally shit the bed. I finally.
What have
got
you been doing, Cam? A lot of incognito tabs.
What have you been looking at?
Well, I'm gonna look up some Rule 34 Last Starfighter type stuff now, but
it's like that skit. What's it? Oh, it was Jordan Peele, and it's his wife was like, "That's weird. The history is always cleared whenever I go on the computer," and he starts sweating. He's like, "That's weird. It must do its own update." She's like, "No, I have to approve the update." And he's like, "Oh, that's weird." And it just starts. Yeah.
All right. Well, does anybody have any shameless plugs? I know that as far as Feast of Fandoms goes, we got MCU Mondays tomorrow. And then on Thursday, we're back for the Cantina Happy Hour. We're going to be continuing the Skeleton Crew. Anybody have anything else?
Monday on MCU, we're doing What If. What If season finale was today, right?
Yeah.
So
I still haven't watched it yet. I haven't watched the new season yet.
I haven't watched the season finale yet.
I'm binging it tomorrow.
I'm doing laundry when I get done here, so I will do it as I fold my laundry. So, somebody's watching us from.
Oh, that's cool.
Thank you very much. Thank you for taking your time out to come check us out. Unfortunately, we're wrapping up right now, but long story short, we had a lot of fun with the movie. We all think it's great. It was just so much fun. It really was.
The replay will be available. So
yeah, exactly. You can catch this on my handy dandy YouTube channel. That's up to a whopping 17 subscribers.
Woo!
Well, since with the big audience, I'll plug this again. A week ago from this past Saturday, I was on the Dingiston YouTube channel, and we covered the first 4 episodes of Creature Commandos, which was a lot of fun. And we'll do another part once the rest of the season is out. I'm really enjoying it, by the way. If you haven't started it yet, it's been really good. So
that's James Gunn, right?
Yes, it's it's the official start to the DCU.
Gotcha. That's what I'd heard. But I hadn't heard anything about it until it started streaming, and so I look at it, I'm like, what the hell is this?
And it's connected to his Suicide Squad movie.
Is that right?
Rick Flag Jr., his dad, is the leader of the creature commandos, and so they kind of reference the death. So it's connects to that. So it's anyway, really good. James Gunn makes you care about a GI robot.
Nice.
In 20 minutes. So yeah. Anyway, that episode was a lot of fun to do. So I think that's all I got.
All right. Well, as far as here goes, next Sunday, I'm actually going to be on here covering the first 3 DreamWorks films.
Ooh.
The very first 3, which are Ants, The Prince of Egypt, and The Road to El Dorado.
All great movies. All
yes.
great.
Yes. Yeah, I definitely agree. I love all 3 of those movies. I think they're great. So that's going to be next week on Sunday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on Cam and Focus. So if that's it for everybody, thank you for everybody who watched and joined in the chat. We really appreciate your company. Dave and Andrew, thank you very much for joining me. Everybody have a good week, and we'll see you on the next